Tomorrow morning, when your alarm goes off, what will you do? Will you hit the snooze button for a few more minutes? Reach for your phone to check messages and social media? Or drag yourself out of bed, already exhausted, only to rush into another day that looks exactly like yesterday? If you're honest with yourself, many of us have repeated that same morning for years without realizing it's quietly shaping our future. We often believe our lives haven't changed because we haven't worked hard enough, haven't been lucky enough, or simply haven't found the right opportunity. But the truth is, opportunities rarely find people who begin every day on autopilot. The very first thing you do after waking up often determines how you think, how you work, and the choices you make for the rest of the day. Today, you'll meet Neel, a young software engineer from Bengaluru. He believed that working longer hours, taking on more projects, and sleeping less would eventually give him a better life. But the harder he pushed, the more he felt like he was running on a treadmill, constantly busy, yet never moving forward. Everything began to change when Neel discovered a principle called the 20-20-20 rule. At first, it sounded like nothing more than a simple morning routine. But by the end of this story, you'll understand why thousands of people wake up at 5 a.m. and still fail, while a small handful quietly transform their lives simply by making the most of the first 60 minutes after they wake up. Neel, 29 years old, was a software engineer living and working in Bengaluru. To everyone around him, he looked like a successful young professional. He had a stable job at a technology company, earned enough to support himself, and seemed to have the kind of future many people dreamed of. But only Neel knew that the longer he stayed in his career, the more he felt as though he was living the exact same day over and over again. Every morning began exactly the same way. His alarm went off. He hit the snooze button a few times and then reached for his phone. He only meant to check a few notifications, but a few minutes quickly turned into almost an hour of scrolling through social media, reading emails, and watching content he couldn't even remember by the end of the day. By the time he finally looked at the clock, he had to rush to get ready, skip breakfast, and hurry to the office, already feeling glanced before the day had truly begun. At work, Neel hardly had a moment to breathe. Meetings, coding, fixing bugs, responding to clients, and then more meetings. Every project that ended was immediately replaced by another. He always met his deadlines and often stayed later than his coworkers to finish whatever still needed to be done. Yet the harder he worked, the more it felt as though he was building someone else's future, while his own life remained exactly where it had always been. Every evening, Neel promised himself he would learn a new skill. He had purchased several online courses, saved dozens of books he wanted to read, and written down plenty of goals for the new year. But after dinner, exhaustion took over, and all he wanted was to relax for a few minutes. Before long, his phone was back in his hand. One video led to another, then another. When he finally looked up, it was almost midnight. He turned off the screen with the same familiar promise that tomorrow he would finally become serious about changing his life. Tomorrow arrived, then the day after that, nothing changed. What worried Neel wasn't that his job was too demanding. What frightened him was realizing that with every passing month, he was still the same person he had been the month before. His skills barely improved. His plans stayed on paper. The things that mattered most were always postponed until someday, when I have more time. Yet somehow, time never truly seemed to belong to him. One weekend evening, Neel opened the notebook where he had written his goals at the beginning of the year. He looked at each line he had written with so much determination. learn a new skill, improve my English, read every day, take better care of my health. Almost none of those goals had been accomplished. He quietly closed the notebook and sat there in silence for a long time. For the first time, Neel didn't blame himself for being lazy. He asked himself only one question. If everyone is given the same 24 hours each day, why do some people keep moving forward, while I never seem to move at all? The following morning, during his train ride to work, a chance encounter gave Neel the answer he had been searching for over the years. That unexpected meeting completely changed the way he would forever see the first hour after waking up. Neel always believed that his biggest problem was a lack of time. He thought that if he had just 1 or 2 extra hours each day, he could learn new skills, improve his health, and finally accomplish all the goals he had been putting off. But what Neel failed to realize was the same mistake millions of people make every single day. We keep searching for more time while unknowingly wasting the most valuable time we already have. That time is the first 60 minutes after we wake up. Many people believe the secret to success is waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. They set their alarms earlier, force themselves out of bed, and hope their lives will somehow change. But after only a few days, exhaustion sets in, old habits return, and everything goes back to the way it was. The problem has never been 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock is simply a point in time. What truly makes the difference is how you use the first hour of your day. That is why many people wake up at 5 every morning for years and still see no real change in their lives. Meanwhile, others wake up at 6, 7, or even after finishing a night shift, yet continue to make steady progress because they know how to protect those first precious moments from their phones, social media, and everything else that distracts the mind. There is a remarkably simple principle that many successful people use to do exactly that. They call it the 20-20-20 formula. At first glance, it seems like nothing more than dividing the first hour of the day into 3 equal parts. But that simple structure helped Neel realize something life-changing. Real transformation does not begin by working harder. It begins by investing in yourself before the rest of the world begins demanding your time. And in the next part, you'll discover why each 20-minute block serves a completely different purpose, and why, when combined, they create the foundation for lasting change. The 20-20-20 formula is not a motivational trick. It is not a shortcut to becoming wealthy in a few weeks either. It is simply a method for protecting the first 60 minutes after you wake up, the period when your brain is at its sharpest and, at the same time, the easiest for the outside world to steal. If that first hour is immediately consumed by your phone, messages, and other people's demands, you begin the day in a reactive state. But if you intentionally use that hour to invest in yourself, the rest of your day follows a completely different direction. The first 20 minutes are not for checking your phone or replying to emails. Their purpose is to wake up your body completely. Go for a brisk walk, jog lightly, do push-ups, jump rope, or perform any exercise that raises your heart rate and makes you break a sweat. Just 20 minutes of continuous movement can improve blood circulation, deliver more oxygen to your brain, and help your body shake off the sluggish feeling that follows a long night's sleep. You do not need an expensive gym membership or fancy equipment. What matters is getting out of a passive state as quickly as possible. The next 20 minutes are dedicated to investing in a skill that can increase your value in the future. This is not the time to read the news, watch entertaining videos, or learn whatever happens to catch your attention. Instead, Choose one skill that directly supports your career or your long-term goals. If you work in technology, like Neel, you might learn a new programming language, study technical documentation, or improve your English to open more career opportunities. If you work in business, focus on sales, communication, or financial management. The key is to commit to one skill for weeks at a time instead of constantly jumping from one goal to another. Real competence is built through repetition, not variety. Don't leave the video just yet, because the final part of this formula is where most people fail. They exercise consistently and spend time learning, yet they still struggle to achieve lasting results because they ignore the last 20 minutes. The final 20 minutes are not about absorbing more information. They are about turning knowledge into action. Open a notebook or a note-taking app and write down the 3 most important tasks you must complete that day. Then spend a few minutes visualizing how you will accomplish each one, what obstacles you are likely to face, and how you will respond if those challenges appear. Finally, write down one personal improvement you want to achieve before the day ends, even if it is something as simple as staying more focused during a meeting, finishing your work on schedule, or completing the 30 minutes of study you committed to. Writing these goals down tells your brain that they are concrete commitments rather than passing thoughts. When Neel first discovered this formula, he thought it was far too simple to make any real difference. He had already experimented with countless time management techniques, downloaded several productivity apps, and bought more personal development books than he could finish. In the end, he had abandoned almost all of them. Because of that, he did not expect much from this method either. This time, however, one thing was different. The 20-20-20 formula did not ask Neel to transform his entire life overnight. It asked him to protect just the first 60 minutes after waking up and to repeat that habit consistently for long enough. At first glance, 60 minutes may not seem like much, but if you spend 1 hour every day improving your health, developing valuable skills, and planning your most important priorities instead of consuming meaningless information, then after 90 days, you will have accumulated 90 hours of exercise, 90 hours of focused learning, and 90 hours of preparation for the goals that matter most. That is time millions of people unknowingly lose, simply because they begin every morning in exactly the same way they did the day before. The next morning, Neel decided to begin. He did not expect his life to change overnight, nor did he believe that a simple formula could solve all of his problems. He only wanted to test one idea. If he truly protected the first 60 minutes after waking up, would the rest of his day feel any different? The first thing he did was move his phone to the other side of the room instead of leaving it beside his bed. The next morning, when the alarm went off, he had to get out of bed to turn it off. That one small adjustment was enough to stop him from reaching for his phone the moment he opened his eyes. For the first 20 minutes, Neel took a brisk walk around his apartment complex and added a few simple stretching exercises. He did not try to work out intensely. His only goal was to wake up his body and prepare his mind for the day ahead. As his body began to move, he noticed that the familiar feeling of morning sluggishness gradually faded away. During the next 20 minutes, Neel devoted his full attention to learning. Instead of trying to study several things at once, he chose a single skill directly related to his career. Every day, he completed one short lesson, then wrote down the key ideas in his own words. He soon realized that taking notes helped him remember what he had learned far better than simply watching a video and moving on to the next one. For the final 20 minutes, he wrote down the 3 most important tasks he needed to complete that day, while mentally rehearsing the order in which he would tackle them. The preparation took only a few minutes, but when he arrived at the office, he no longer felt as though his work was pulling him in every direction at once. The first week was anything but easy. Some mornings, Neel woke up exhausted after staying late the night before to finish an urgent project. There were times when he told himself it would be fine to skip just one day and make up for it tomorrow. But then he remembered that those same small compromises had caused so many of his previous plans to fall apart after only a few days. Instead of chasing perfection, he focused on consistency. Even if he studied less than usual, exercised more lightly, or had to shorten the sessions, he still completed all 3 parts of the formula. About 3 weeks later, Neel began noticing the first real changes. He could stay focused for longer periods at work, was less distracted by his phone, and finished tasks more efficiently than before. The notes he prepared each morning made him more confident during meetings, and he started offering ideas instead of waiting for someone else to assign him work. His manager also began paying attention after noticing that Neel consistently arrived well-prepared whenever he was given a new responsibility. By then, Neel finally understood that the true value of the 20-20-20 formula had nothing to do with waking up early or managing time more efficiently. Its greatest benefit was teaching him to invest in himself before giving his time to work and everyone else's demands. Every morning changed only a little, but when those small improvements were repeated day after day, they gradually shaped a completely different person. And it was at that very moment that the first opportunity Neel had never expected quietly began to appear. A few months later, Neel was still working at the same company, living in the same apartment, and waking up to the same 24 hours that everyone else had. But one thing had changed completely. He no longer started his mornings by reaching for his phone or rushing into the day. Instead, the first 60 minutes had become the most valuable part of his routine, a time to strengthen his body, develop new skills, and prepare himself for goals that mattered far beyond the day's workload. What was most surprising was that his first real opportunity did not come because he worked longer hours. It came because he had become a more valuable person. The knowledge he accumulated every morning helped him earn more challenging projects, communicate with greater confidence, and open doors that he had never imagined before. That was when Neel finally realized that success rarely arrives in a single dramatic moment. It is built through small decisions repeated consistently, day after day. If there is one lesson worth remembering from this story, it is this. The 20-20-20 formula is not about waking up at 5 in the morning. It is about reclaiming the first hour of your day before the rest of the world takes it away from you. And perhaps the small decision you make tomorrow morning will become the starting point of a completely different version of yourself 90 days from now. If you look back at Neel's entire journey, you'll see that what changed his life wasn't waking up at 5 a.m., nor was it some magical secret. The real difference came from the way he protected the first 60 minutes after waking up. 20 minutes to wake up his body through movement. 20 minutes to learn a skill that could create more value for his future. 20 minutes to write down his goals, organize his priorities, and prepare his mind before the day began. As those small actions were repeated every single day, they gradually shaped a better version of himself. If there's only one thing you remember from this video, let it be this. Don't try to change your entire life overnight. Change the way you begin each day, then stay consistent for 90 days. If Neel's story has given you a new perspective, leave a comment saying 20-20-20 to mark the day you decided to begin your own journey. At Livy Tales, we believe that every life experience has something meaningful to teach. Your words may inspire not only us, but also others in this community who are walking a similar path. Thank you for spending your time with us today. We hope you'll join us again for future stories and life lessons. Your support means more than you know. It encourages us to keep creating meaningful content and sharing messages that can bring hope, wisdom, and positive change to people around the world. Until next time, take care and keep growing, one day at a time.